Hi, hello, this is analanguagecoach, your language coach, and today we are going to continue reading in the chapter 2 of the novel Little Women. I skipped the part of the play with one intention, to shorten the videos and also to separate these different atmospheres, the home moment with waking up, receiving the gift from their mother, and then giving their breakfast to their neighbors, and then giving some presents also to their moms, and receiving the gift from the neighbor that knew that they have done something so beautiful, which is to donate their breakfast to the Hamels, right, the neighbors that were in need, and they help them. The other neighbor, Mr. Lawrence, knew that, not because he saw them in the novel, but say because Hannah told them what the girls did and what was Marmee doing with the girls in the morning. So the neighbor was very happy knowing that the neighbors did something so beautiful, so he wanted to do something for them, and he sent them a nice also it's called trifle, which is sweets and things like that, but it was for them was something very, very special, kind of a feast, we could say. So in the novel, I want to express here that the window, I said this in my previous video, but I want to highlight this idea. The windows represent a fantastic, we could say, medium to connect Tiferet, which we could say is the, let's call that the divinity, with the world, Malhut, okay? So the kingdom, we could say. So in the middle, let's place this Yesod, which is the window. So to connect one world with the other one, so the divine world with the human world, we have this window in the middle, and through the window, these two parts are connected. And I think this is very well written and very well expressed through all the movies that we have seen of the Little Women. And especially, in my opinion, especially in the last one in 2019. Why? Because the moment where they approach the window after receiving the feast that their neighbor has sent them, they approach and they peer through the window and try to spot what the neighbors, and it was a fantastic description from the director, the light that the girls were receiving from the window, but also inside their home, how they were looking outside. So there are these two movements, looking outside and also receiving the light, receiving the grace. And I found that very, very nice. Maybe it's because I'm these days studying Kabbalah. I'm not an expert in the topic or in the field, not at all, as also I'm not an expert in astrology, but the language of astrology and the language of Kabbalah helps me to understand literary metaphors that we see continuously happening in movies, in novels, and in poetry. I think it's a very rich language, very poetic, that helps us to understand how the characters are built, and how and the places where the characters appear, and the different elements in a novel or in any movie. Having said that, I also want to say right the name of the author that wrote The Pilgrim's Progress, no process. The Pilgrim Progress is the 16th century book, very famous, that is an allegory of a Christian's life. And actually the protagonist is called Christian. And the first part of the novel is about the man doing the journey to Celestial City, from the city of destruction to Celestial City. And in the middle, he encounters different characters and different situations and problems, and he has to face them and move on. And the second part of of that book, and I'm talking about this book because they receive it on Christmas Day as a gift from their mother, okay? These 4 little girls with different colors in their covers, representing the different characters. So when they receive it, I said in the previous video that it was from John Bunyan. And I said it wrong because I said Bujand. Bueno, horrible. It's not Bujand, it's Bunyan. John Bunyan. And probably I'm still saying it wrong because I'm a Spanish native speaker, okay? But it's okay. If you want to find how it's very well said, just go in internet and try to see some documentary about this author. I repeat again, John Bunyan, okay? Let's continue. I'm going to read this part. It's shorter than the previous one, so I hope that you take notes of the vocabulary and expressions that appear. So let's start from here. Being still too young to go often to the theater and not rich enough to afford any great outlay for private performances, the girls put their wits to work. And remember, wits is like the keen intelligence that they have. So the skills and the intelligence they have, their wits to work. And necessity being the mother of invention, this is an expression, and necessity being the mother of invention, made whatever they needed. Very clever were some of their productions. Pasteboard, and pasteboard, remember, is like cartón, ¿vale? Pasteboard guitars, antique lamps made of old-fashioned butter boats. Butter boats, it's coming from this pot that where you keep inside the butter, something similar as I explained when we were reading this theme, Celia and I was explaining that they kept something inside the butter, similar to a pot. And this is called butter boats because it's where you place the butter, and it's called boats because it has the shape of a boat, but it's probably made of clay. So old-fashioned butter boats covered with silver paper, gorgeous robes of old cotton, glittering with tin spangles, from pickle factory. Okay, so tin spangles, we could say it's also, you know, the tin spangles probably coming from when they say the pickle factory, is pickle is como this thing that you eat. That doesn't come to me now in Spanish, the word in Spanish, but you know, it's this kind of green, it's acid, or it's kind of acid, I think, sabor es como ácido, ¿no? Pepinillos, que no me salía la palabra, pickle es como pepinillo, y están metidos, ¿no?, en un bote, y entonces el tin es como la lata, so glittering with tin spangles from a pickle factory, so they took it from those kind of tins, and armor covered with the same useful diamond-shaped beads left in sheets when the lids of preserved pots were cut out. Entonces, the lids are las tapas, ¿vale? And beads son trozos, okay? And armor, so we are talking about how they build the armor using the lids and the tin of some pickle factory, you know, and how they shape it, some parts from the lids of preserved pots, and those preserved pots were cut out when se acabaron, no? The big chamber was the scene of many innocent revels, And I'm going to explain the rebels here. Well, the chamber, you know, it's this with the curtains and everything, no, the chamber, and the rebels, we could say it's kind of divertimentos. It's not rebels de rebelde, porque rebelde va con B, no? Rebels, I think it goes with B in English. So these rebels is the divertimentos, okay, innocent rebels. The chamber could also be like kind of a canopy, kind of, ¿vale? No gentlemen were admitted, so Jo played male parts to her heart's content. To her heart's content, and this is an expression, it's a very interesting expression, para el contento de su corazón, ¿no? Para su como que algo que deseaba siempre hacer, ¿no? So Jo played male parts to her heart's content and took immense satisfaction in a pair of russet leather boots. And I'm going to explain here the word russet. It means red, okay? Russet leather boots. Entonces, imaginaros a Jo with these russet leather boots given her by a friend. So a friend gave them to her, who knew a lady who knew an actor. Who knew a lady who knew an actor. These boots, an old foil, I'm going to explain here the foil thing, is like it's like foil is like a paper, like una hoja, no? An old foil, and a slashed doublet, and this doublet is un jubón, ¿vale? Slashed is like recortado, because probably she needed to, you know, adapt it to her shape and body. So these boots, imagine you need to think of Jo dressed with red boots with a paper on her hand and a slashed doublet, es decir, un jubón como lo que llevan los de la tuna, ¿vale? Ese tipo de pantalón, un jubón slashed doublet, once used, una vez usado, once used by an artist for some picture. Were Jo's for some pictures se quiere decir para un artista para alguna pintura, o sea, para algún dibujo, para algo que debía de ser pintado. Were Jo's chief treasures, es decir, los principales chief treasures, and appeared on all occasions. The smallness of the company made it, esto es interesante and very nice, they are amateurs, and this is interesting when they say the smallness of the company made it necessary for the two principal actors to take several parts apiece. And they certainly deserved some credit for the hard work they did in learning 3 or 4 different parts, whisking in and out of various customs. Y este whisking es como cambiándose, ¿no? Mezclando y poniéndose y quitándose various customs, and managing the stage besides. Okay. It was excellent drill, ¿vale? Y drill is exercise. Drill is exercise. It was excellent drill for their memories, a harmless amusement, and employed many hours which otherwise would have been idle, lonely, or spent in less profitable society. ¿Vale? Esto es interesante, ¿no? Como el esfuerzo que hacen y la inversión que tienen en esta parte que no es económica, que simplemente es de disfrute, de estar haciendo algo que les gusta, de estar aprendiendo unas líneas, es un buen ejercicio para su memoria, y están gastando ahí un tiempo que de otra manera pues hubiera sido gastado en ensoñaciones, como podemos decir, idle puede ir un poco por ahí, ¿no? Idle, lonely, de soledad, or spent in less profitable society. Profitable, acordaros que tiene que ver con exitoso, de que tiene alguna recompensa. Y diréis, si esto le daba de comer a ellas, pues no. Pero bueno, en el sentido de profitable society, esto es un ejercicio. Igual que, I have to say here, not only the theater company, this amateur theater company, the Pickwick Society, they exercise and their wits and it's a drill, no, for their memories, but also remember in the movies and also in the novels, you will see that they exercise the reading out loud, no, reading out loud to somebody, when they are sit down reading to their auntie. This happens many times, and I don't know if people are still doing these things, but I highly recommend every of my coaches to read out loud, to record themselves, to send it to me. But if they have obviously somebody at home, kids or not kids, also all elder people, they love that you read at them. I don't know if we have missed that. I always have loved people reading at me. Anyway, I keep reading this part. On Christmas night, a dozen girls peeled onto the bed. And now think of them performing in front of these dozen girls peeled onto the bed, which was the dress circle. And the dress circle, remember, is like the dress circle is como el anfiteatro, ¿vale? Dress circle, we could call it like that, as simple as that. And sat before the blue and yellow chintz curtains in a most flattering state of expectancy. There was a good deal of rustling, okay? There was a good deal of rustling, like ruido, no, noise, and whispering, no, de hablar bajito, no, whispering, behind the curtain. A trifle of lamp smoke, es como un poco de smoke, no, coming out of the lamp, and an occasional giggle from Amy, who was up to get hysterical in the excitement of the moment. And I adore the way that Luisa May Alcott has, in 2-3 lines, describe perfectly the thrill of being behind the curtains before you start a theater play. If you have been performing any theater play, you know what I mean, you know what is the feeling, and you can perfectly enjoy these 3 lines, especially when she says, occasional giggle from Amy, who was up to get hysterical in the excitement of the moment. Presently, a bell sounded. The curtains flew apart, se abrieron, ¿no? And the operatic tragedy began. Y fíjate cómo ha habido aquí, ¿no? Un poquito de rima. Presently, a bell sounded, the curtains flew apart, and the operatic tragedy began. A gloomy wood, according to the one playbill, and I'm going to explain what is a gloomy wood, is we could say un sombrío, terrorífico, tétrico bosque, according to the one playbill, was represented by a few shrubs. Estaba representado por unos pocos shrubs, arbustos, in pots, como en macetas, in pots, green vase on the floor. And the vase, it could also be a kind of a fabric, green fabric, that you sometimes place to play cards, for example, ¿no? Este tipo de tapete verde con el que se juegan las cartas estaba puesto como si fuese el césped, ¿no? Algo así. Green vase on the floor and a cave in the distance. Y una cueva. ¿No? Nos están describiendo lo que se ve a la vista, ¿no? When the curtains flew apart, this is what we see. The stage, a ver si estoy bien aquí. No, aquí. This cave was made with a clothes horse. Con una ropa de caballo, ¿no? A clothes horse for a roof, como tejado. Bureaus for walls. Bureau, como el que tengo yo ahí, bureau for walls, pero a veces se cierran también así, for walls, como las walls, ¿no? Las paredes. And in it was a small furnace in full blast. And in it was a full furnace. Furnace es un caldero in full blast, muy activo, ¿no? In full blast. With a black pot, con un punto negro on it, and an old witch bending over it. Ya la veis, ¿no? La imagen, the image. The stage was dark, and the glow of the furnace had a fine effect. especially as real steam issued from the kettle when the witch took off the cover. No? Took off the cover and a little, smoke came off. A moment was allowed for the first thrill to subside. Subside or subside. I'm going to explain a little bit here. A moment was allowed for the first thrill to subside, to succeed. Then, thrill es como la motivación, ¿no? Was for the first thrill to succeed. Then Hugo, after the witch, we see Hugo, the villain, stalked in, entró, ¿no? With a clanking sword, with a clanking sword, and the clanking sword es la espada que sonaba, ¿no? Que suena porque va como clink, clank, clank, ¿no? De metal, pues suena un poco. A slouching hat, es decir, un poquito slouched, esto está slouching o slouched hat, puedes decirlo con ing o con ed, slouched hat o slouching hat, bend, we could say, black beard, mysterious cloak, ya hemos hablado del cloak, ¿verdad? La capa, and the boots, y unas botas. After pacing to and fro in much agitation, he struck his forehead and burst out in a wild strain, singing of his hatred to Rodrigo. Y esto lo voy a decir, no es Rodrigo, que nosotros diríamos, pues es Rodrigo, pero ellos lo dicen con una E delante, entonces es Rodrigo, ¿vale? Suena un poco así. Rodrigo, his love for Farah, and Rodrigo is going to be the main character, the male main character, and Farah is going to be the princess. So his love for Sarah and his pleasing resolution to kill the one and win the other. Entonces Hugo is going to kill the one, the first one, and win the other. The gruff tones of Hugo's voice, gruff es como el sonido, vamos a decir, rudo, ¿no? Fuerte, ronco, vamos a decir, rough es como eso, ¿no? Rodrigo, the rough tones of Hugo's voice, with an occasional shout when his feelings overcame him, were very impressive, and the audience applauded the moment he paused for breath, bowing with the air of one accustomed to public praise, ¿no? Como haciendo una, bowing es como haciendo una reverencia hacia el público. He stole to the cavern and ordered Hagar to come forth. Hagar is the witch. With a commanding, what ho, minion, I need thee. Yeah, I'm going to explain minion because the minions, you know that because of the movies from Pixar, but the minion is also servant, okay? So here in this novel, it appears this word that you probably relate to other cartoons movies, but this one it means servant, okay? And says, out came Meg with gray horse hair hanging out her face, a red and black robe, a staff and cabalistic signs upon the cloak. Very important, this detail. So the witch is dressed, Meg, the oldest sister, is wearing this gray horse hair, gray, ¿vale? In English, we could say con E o con A, but it says the same thing. It's gris, ¿vale? And she is playing the role of Hagar. I think it's not Hagar, it's Hagar. Hagar. Yeah. Hagar, escrito H-A-G-A-R, Hagar, is the witch. That she's wearing esta capa, the cloak, with the cabalistic signs. Hugo demanded a potion, como una pócima, to make Sarah adore him, and one destroyed Rodrigo. Okay, so he's demanding 2 potions, one for Sarah to get her love, and another for Rodrigo to kill him. Hagar in a fine dramatic melody, promised both and proceeded to call up the spirit who would bring the love philter. Entonces, she is going to call the spirit of the love philter. Y vamos a leer esto que es precioso, the way that is being written. Acordaros, esto es algo así como hither, hither, from my home, airy sprite I will become, ¿vale? Entonces, el hither means closer, nearer, closer, closer, from the home, más cerca de tu casa. Airy sprite es como un espíritu del aire. I bid thee come, te ordeno que vengas. I bid thee come, I command. I bid es como decir I command thee come, ¿no? Di a ti que vengas. Born of roses, fed and dew, nacido de las rosas y alimentado del dew es el rocío. Charms and potions canst do brew. Y te voy a decir aquí, the brew is make, yes, they make by boiling and fermenting. Okay, so charms and potions canst do brew. Y este canst, este es como puedes tú, ¿no? Puedes tú, canst do brew, fermentar, hervir, hacer, ¿no? Charms and potions, ¿vale? Encantamientos, charms es como encantamientos, and potions, canst do brew. Esto es como all English, okay? Remember sometimes in these kind of chants or poems or, vamos a decir, encantamientos que se dicen con palabras, it appears the all English all the time. That's why the D, ¿no? Thy, D, este tipo de cosas. Bring me here with elfin speed. Elfin es de speed, es velocidad de elfo, no delfín, sino de elfo. So bring me here with elfin speed, the fragrant philter which I need. Make it sweet and swift and strong. Swift es que cambie, ¿no? Que se cambie, que cambie al otro, ¿no? Swift and strong. Spirit, answer now my song. Spirit, answer now my song. Esto es lo que está diciendo Hagar, ¿vale? Hagar, the witch, is singing this song to the spirit that is going to create the love philter. ¿Vale? Remember, it's born of roses, fed on dew, el rocío, ¿no? Entonces, bueno. And then we continue. A soft strain of music sounded, and then at the back of the cave appeared a little figure in cloudy white with glittering wings. ¿No? Ahora tienes que pensar en el spirit that is appearing. With these glittering wings, con este tipo de alitas que brillan, glittering, golden hair, and a garland of roses. Garland es también, ¿no? una wreath, a wreath or garland of roses on its head. Waving a wand, una magic wand, ¿no? Una varita. It sang, y ahora canta. Who sings that? The spirit. And says, hither I come from my airy home, afar in the silver moon, take the magic spell and use it well, or its power will vanish soon. ¿Vale? So it's very easy. I'm not going to explain that because I think you understood perfectly. And then we have, and dropping a small gilded bottle. Gilded bottle is like golden. The color of the bottle was gold. Gilded is como say golden. Gilded bottle of the witch's feet. The spirit vanished. Another chant from Hagar produced another apparition. Not a lovely one, for with a bang an ugly black imp appeared. And imp in this case is another spirit, okay? Another apparition. And an imp is like a demon. It's not, this time it's not a nice figure, it's a demon one. But because remember, Hugo was asking for 2 different potions. So now for the second, it appears this evil demon spirit, and he appeared, and having croaked a reply, croaked, we could say, is like having the cry like a frog, croaked a reply, tossed a dark bottle at Hugo and disappeared with a mocking laugh. Mocking, remember, is when someone is making fun at somebody. Mocking laugh. Having wobbled, having wobbled, so we could say wobble is like sang, cantado, no? Wobbled his thanks and put the potions in his boots. Hugo departed, and Hagar informed the audience that as he had killed a few of her friends in times past, she had cursed him, le ha maldecido. Fijaros lo que va a hacer ahora Hagar, la bruja. And intends to intenta cambiar, complicar, entorpecer towards his plans, and be revenged, y de esta manera vengarse on him, de él. Then the curtain, aquí I have highlighted these comments, then the curtain fell, and the audience reposed and ate candy while discussing the merits of the play. Interesting, right? The comments, no? Then the curtain fell and the audience reposed and ate candy while discussing the merits of the play. A good deal of hammering, esto es interesante, a good deal of hammering, ¿no? Es pom, 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 dando golpes con el martillo, went on before the curtains, ¿no? Pues cerraron las cortinas y ahora está ocurriendo ahí un montón de cosas. Went on before the curtain rose again, but when it became evident what a masterpiece of stage carpentering had been got up, no one murmured at the delay. So, claro, estaban construyendo the towers, so that's why nobody complained when they saw the tower. It was truly superb. A tower rose to the ceiling. Halfway up appeared a window with a lamp burning in it, and behind the white curtain appeared Sarah in a lovely blue and silver dress, waiting for Roderigo. He came in gorgeous array, y esta palabra array ya ha aparecido en Cupid and Psyche, que lo pondré por algún lado de aquí. It will appear, Cupid and Psyche, array is the dress that ones wear before getting married, or something similar, ¿no? Array. So gorgeous array, también como apariencia, pero en este caso array in many situations appear like the bride or the groom for certain ceremonies. With plumed cap, plume es otra palabra que ha aparecido otras veces, pluma, con una cap, con un sombrero con una pluma, with plumed cap, red cloak, ya hemos quedado capa roja, chestnut love looks, and esto, I'm going to explain this one because the chestnut, a ver, I'm just going to tell you these parts. Sí, chestnut love locks. Chestnut love locks. I think this was something on the chest, no, on the where he's wearing a guitar and the boots, of course. So and estamos hablando de él, he came in gorgeous array with plumed cap, red cloak, chestnut love locks, and a guitar. And I'm not sure if the chestnut love locks is for a hair or for the chest. I'm not sure. Let's find out and leave me a comment if you know what it exactly means that, because I I can't find now my notes about that part. I remember looking for it, but it wasn't clear, still wasn't clear. A guitar and the boots, of course. Kneeling at the foot of the tower, he sang a serenade in melting tones. Sarah replied, and after a musical dialogue, consented to fly. Then came the grand effect of the play. Rodrigo produced a rope ladder, ¿no? Y ahora le va a lanzar a rope ladder, una escalera, pero hecha de cuerda, with the 5 steps to it, con 5 escalones, threw up one end and invited Sarah to descend. ¿Vale? Seguís la escena, ¿no? And timidly, she crept from her lattice. She crept from her lattice. And you have to remember here that timidly she crept, no, sneak up or down, in this case from her lattice, in this case would be like a structure, se bajó por esa estructura, ¿no? Crept from her lattice, put her hand on Rodrigo's shoulder and was about to leap gracefully down, ¿no? Iba a bajar y dar, o sea, hacer un salto de manera agraciadamente, ¿no? Con gracia, when alas for Sarah, es como decir, cuidado, ¿no? It's like saying an express of concerns, so say, cuidado, alas for Sarah, she forgot her train, se olvidó de su cola, la cola del vestido, it caught in the window, se quedó enganchada a la ventana, otra vez lo de la ventana, ¿no? It caught in the window, the tower tottered, se tambaleó la torre, leaning forward, ¿no? Cayéndose hacia adelante, fell with a crash, y se cayó dando un crash con una rotura, ¿no? With a crash. And buried the unhappy, ¿no? Y ocultó, and buried the unhappy lovers in the ruins. Situation, no, that every amateur theater company has one's experience is when something goes absolutely wrong, you know, the attrezzo is not functioning, the lights are not functioning, or in this case is this tower that is bending and leaning forward until it's absolutely on ruins. And covering the characters. A universal shriek arose, as the russet boots, ahora las botas rojas, waved wildly from the wreck, desde la ruina, ¿no? Wreck, desde el desastre. And a golden head, ¿no? Desde la rubia, ¿no? It emerged exclaiming, I told you so, with wonderful presence of mind. Don Pedro, the cruel sire es como decir el padre cruel, ¿vale? Rushed in, dragged out his daughter with a hasty aside, y la cogió, ¿no? Como diciendo, venga, ven aquí. Y le dijo, don't laugh, act as if it was all right. And ordering Rodrigo up, banished him from the kingdom with wrath and scorn. With wrath and scorn, in this case, obviously it's like que le echaron, ¿no? Como ya sabemos el papel que está funcionando Don Pedro, entonces this wrath and scorn es como que le echaban, ¿no? La gente de la audiencia solamente le dice, venga, va, que te vaya este. Through decidedly shaken by the fall from the tower upon him, perdón, voy a repetir otra vez. Though decidedly shaken by the fall from the tower upon him, Rodrigo defied the old gentleman and refused to steer. ¿Vale? Entonces, and now they are having Rodrigo confront the sire, Don Pedro, and Sí, bueno, una cosa, I'm going to explain the wrath and scorn. Wrath is como fury, and scorn is like disdain, okay? So from the kingdom with furia y desdén, though decidedly shaken by the fall of the tower upon him, Roderigo defied the old gentleman and refused to steer, se negó a moverse. This dauntless, es decir, como fearless example, fired Sarah, encendió a Zara. She also defied her sire, y también desafía, ¿no? Se enfrenta, challenge the sire, que es su padre. And he ordered them both to the deepest dungeons of the castles. Y les ordena a todo el mundo que les lleven a la prisión, ¿no? A stout little retainer here is like the minion, ¿no? The stout little retainer came in, como otro servant, with chains, con las cadenas, and led them away, looking very much frightened and evidently forgetting the speech he ought to have made. Act 3, Act third. Dejaros aquí, Act 3. Was the castle hall, and here Hagar appeared, having come to free the lovers and finish Hugo. Entonces ya va a rescatar ahora a los lovers que están metidos en la prisión, ¿verdad? In the dungeons, que podemos decir que dungeon is a prison. And she's going to free the lovers and finish Hugo because she wants a revenge. She hears him coming and hides. Sees him put the potions into 2 cups of wine and beat the timid little servant. Beat, remember here, beat. It could also be like beat es como convidar, creo. And beat the timid little servant. Bear them to the... no, beat es como ordenar, acordaros. Beat is to command, ¿vale? Que ya ha salido antes cuando hemos leído las canciones que cantaba para traer al espíritu, o ese airy sprite. Acordaros que dice, I bid thee come, te ordeno que vengas, I bid thee come. Pues este es igual, ¿no? And bid the timid little servant, y ordenó al timid little servant, le dijo, bear them to the captives in their cells and tell them I shall come anon. Entonces, bear them, entonces mantén, ¿no? To the captives in their cells and tell them I shall come anon. Anon o anun. Esto es decir, que le voy a llegar a anun pronto, ¿vale? O al anun, que es también un tiempo concreto, ¿no? So there we are, and sí, soon, es como decir soon, que vendré pronto. And we keep reading here. The servant takes Hugo aside to tell him something, and Hagar changes the cups for 2 others which are harmless. ¿Vale? Entonces le cambia, Hagar cambia, changes the cups. Ferdinando, the minion, y aquí quiero que veáis, Ferdinando is another very typical name from another, I mean, these kind of words, minion, Ferdinando, and Roderigo, Sarah, Don Pedro, and it's Hugo, they have this Latin and also Spanish touch, exotic for them, for English and American culture. So, well, it's not strange that these kind of words appear in here. And Ferdinando, by the way, I think there is a tale from a little bull, right? That is called Ferdinando the Bull or something like that. Bueno, I keep saying Ferdinando the minion, the servant was called Ferdinando, carries them away, and Hagar puts back the cup which holds the potion meant for Roderigo. Hugo, getting thirsty after a long wobble, ha salido antes, the wobble is like a long Wobble in this case, we could say is a song that he had said all his things, drinks it, loses his wits, pierde su inteligencia, and after a good deal of clenching is like agarrones, after a good deal of, una expresión para decir un montón de, a good deal of clutching and stamping, pisoteos, ¿vale? Zapateos, entonces por un lado agarrones, zapateos, ¿vale? Falls flat and dies, while Hagar informs him what she has done in a song of exquisite power and melody. This is a revenge of Hagar. Now, this was a truly thrilling scene, though some persons might have thought that the sudden tumbling down of a quantity of long red hair rather marred the effect of the villain's death. Entonces, marred, and this word, which is marred, no marred, marred, es como disminuía o estropeaba el qué, que this Hugo, when he is dying, is represented by Joe, porque ¿quién tiene red hair? Joe. Entonces Joe has long hair, and when he is playing the role of Hugo dying, her hair comes off, and so you could see her hair. Entonces dicen que en ese momento la gente que vio eso, pues que claro, se le quitó un poco el efecto teatral al ver el pelo de la actriz, ¿no? Entonces por eso dicen though that the sudden tumbling down of a quantity of long red hair rather marred, hemos quedado que este marred means disminuía the effect of the villain's death. He was called before the curtain, and with great prosperity appeared, leading Hagar, whose singing was considered more wonderful than all the rest of the performance put together. Entonces Hagar, played by Beth, who is the pianist. Act 4, displayed the despairing Roderigo on the point of stabbing himself because he has been told that Sarah has deserted him, just as the dagger, entonces acuerdas, Act 4, displayed the despairing Roderigo on the point of stabbing himself because he has been told that Sarah has deserted him. Entonces esto es lo que resume, el resumen del Act 4, yes? And remember that dagger is como una daga, ¿no? Es como un cuchillo, una daga. Just as the dagger is at his heart, ¿no? A lovely song is sung under his window. Otra vez the window. Informándole a él that Sarah is true but in danger, que es verdadera, es decir, que le quiere, pero que está en peligro. And he can save her if he will, y que la puede salvar si él quisiera. Aquí, y esto es importante, is an element, aquí, is thrown in. Y esto es importante because in the Pilgrim's Progress, the book that they receive, the key is also important. The main character is also put in prison, and also he received the key to open and liberate him from the prison. So a key is thrown in, which unlocks the door, and is a spans of rapture. He tears, and in a spans of rapture, he tears his chains and rushes away to find and rescue his lady love. Okay, and spams, obviamente espasmos, no? And if you have any other question, just ask me there in the comments. Please, anyway, subscribe if you have any comment, or if you want to say something to me. Remember, comment something here. It would be fantastic. And I'll keep reading the last part. I think this is the last part. Act 5. Open with a stormy scene between Sarah and Don Pedro. He wishes her to go into a convent, but she won't hear of it. And after a touching appeal, is about to faint when Rodrigo dashes in, lanza dentro, and demands her hand. Y le pide su mano. Demands her hand. Don Pedro refuses because he's not rich, porque no es rico. Y esto es importante, because he's not rich. Esto aparece en varias ocasiones desde la tía, ¿no? La tía Miss Aunt March. She is repeating all the time to girls, please marry well, marry a wealthy man, blah, blah, blah. And not is all the time happening. I think the only one that does that is Amy, because the Meg marries a professor, that a teacher, that we all know that teachers, we don't earn a lot of money. We are not like rich in terms of the society terms. And also we know Joe is not getting married. Only in the movie appears that she ends with the professor, no, the Frederick Baher, but it's not really, we don't know, I mean, it's the ending of the book, it's not really the ending of the movie. And we also know that Beth, dies, so she is not obviously marrying anybody. So, but this is interesting, because even in the theater play appears a character that says because he's not rich. They shout and gesticulate tremendously but cannot agree, and Rodrigo is about to bear away the exhausted Zara when the timid servant enters with a letter and a bag from Hagar, who has mysteriously disappeared. The latter es el último, ¿vale? The latter, el último que ha aparecido, informs, es decir, el servant, informs the party that she bequeaths untold. Bequeaths es como que se le ha heredado, que hereda, que obtiene, bequeaths, untold wealth, o que bequeaths, no, que the latter informs the party, no, the latter es decir, Zara, when the timid servant enters with a letter and a bag from Hagar, who has mysteriously disappeared, the latter informs the party that ella, la Zara, que es, no, perdona, the latter informs the party that she bequeaths untold wealth. Bequeaths, bequeaths is like saying untold wealth, que va a heredar, ¿no? Untold wealth, riqueza, to the young pair, que le espera desde, claro, el young pair es la pareja, ¿no? An awful doom to Don Pedro, y un destino horrible para Don Pedro. Entonces, esta she bequeaths is the witch, que le predice, algo así, bequeaths es como predecir, que predice, ¿no? Una no dicha riqueza, que no se sabe, una que no conoce nadie, le va a llegar a esta pareja. The bag is opened and several quarts of tin money showered down upon the stage till it is quite glorified with the glitter. Y entonces esto es un pequeño comment on how they represent este baño, de esta herencia que recibe esta joven pareja. So the bag is opened, the bag is open, and several quarts of tin money shower down, cae down upon the stage till it is quite glorified with the glitter. ¿No? This entirely softens the stern sire. Todo esto softens the stern, el obcecado sire, padre. He consents without a murmur, all join in a joyful chorus, o sea, consciente sin murmurar nada, all join in a joyful chorus, todos se ponen a cantar, and the curtain falls upon the lovers kneeling to receive Don Pedro's blessing in attitudes of the most romantic grace. tumultuous applause followed but received an unexpected check. Fijaos, ahora lo que va a pasar. Tumultuous applause followed but received an unexpected check. For the cot bed, el cot bed es lo que está manteniendo on which the dress circle was built, es decir, por donde estaba toda la gente sentada viendo, ¿no? La audiencia. Suddenly shut up, cae, ¿no? Suddenly shut up and extinguished the enthusiastic audience, ¿no? Y apaga el enthusiastic audience. Rodrigo and Don Pedro flew to the rescue and all were taken out unhurt. Todos fueron rescatados sin ser heridos, ¿no? Que no se hirieron, unhurt, though many were speechless with laughter. Pero muchos estaban sin poder decir nada, speechless with laughter, por la risa que les había entrado, ¿no? And that's it. This is the end of the Pickwick Society play performed in the chapter 2 of the novel. I hope you have learned with me few words and expressions. Leave a comment below, say you like it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.